Hi there, this is Pet Beats, and today we're going to be going through this dark Afrobeat. Made it about a year back, and I'll just let you have a little listen to it before I start going through it. So this is what the core of it sounds like. So yeah, that's really like the main part of the beat we've got going here, and I made it about a year ago in like a sort of like a summer evening type of vibe. So I was feeling something a bit more darker, but like like chilled out type of thing. So not like a usual upbeat Afrobeat sound, but I went on Splice and found this loop. So let's just have a look at some of the processing we've got on it. So we've got standard EQ taking some of those very lows out, and we've got a reverb on it, just giving it that nice extra soft feeling, because it already sounded pretty good. And all I did with it is cut this intro out, so it goes right into it, so you're not having to wait for it to drop like when you first heard it. And you'll see here I've just cut out some bits from this section here, just so it sounds like it's still playing, because like without those bits it sounds a bit like there's nothing playing, which isn't a bad thing. I just wanted to make sure like it didn't sound like it just cuts off. So next we've got this piano loop that's playing in like the main hook sections, so that sounds like this. Yeah, it's really dark, and it's actually quite a bit slower originally. I think it's 98 beats per minute, or maybe it's 140, I'm not sure by that tag. But it fit really well against this brass, because we had like sort of like a higher brassier sound mixed with this dark piano, and it merged quite well together. So that's just got an EQ. Not taking as much lows out because it is a very deep sound. But I didn't want it to merge with the kick and bass too much, so I took these lows out, as you'll see. And a bit out here where a lot of stuff will be hitting around the 200 mark. So next I'll show you this percussion loop I found. So it's doing like that very signature Afrobeat pattern, but it's got like that heartbeat kind of sound in it. And all I did here, I've taken like some of the notes out and just added some in, just so it's not 2 and then 3. It's 3 all the way through, so it's a bit more of a catchier rhythm. So we've got that reversing sound there again, reversing back into it. So really what I was doing there, because you'll see I just started off with this loop and the trumpet and just filling a bit of space in, where I think there could be a few extra sounds. So next we got this kind of like riser thing, but it's actually part of the piano. It's just like an end part of it, if that makes sense. So here we go. So when you're first hearing it, it doesn't necessarily sound like a piano, it sounds like a riser when it's coming in. So I thought that was a cool little extra thing to add in there. So I think I actually sort of made this riser from scratch from the piano loop. So you'll see there's a lot of this in coming in, and that's the piano there. But I've taken that out just so it's coming in at the end, and that's how you create your own riser. When I guess it was already sort of there, but it's just morphing it how I wanted it. So let's go through the sort of like tom snare thing. So I actually found this other loop that I think I found before. Like, I didn't go fresh finding for one, I just remembered I'd had one in my likes in Splice. Because that heartbeat monitor sound in this original percussion loop, I thought I could add like a similar like tom sound. So we've got this loop here. And then I basically just shortened one part of it, so it's just this tom. And you see that's got a bit of reverb and delay on it. Just to add a bit more of a spacey effect, given like the vibe of the loops already in the percussion loop. I wanted to emphasize that in any other sounds I added, so that's just doing this pattern, yeah. It sounds quite weird on its own, to be honest with you, but if you'll hear it with the original percussion loop, then it sounds like this. It really coordinates together quite well with that loop. So then I knew I only really had to do a simple kick pattern. So this kick here, it's just the same 2 bars repeated, and that's, again, it's just bouncing off what I've already done. So that on its own just sounds like this. Yeah, not many kicks here, and it's literally the same 2 bars over and over. Very simple, like 3 notes every 2 bars. So you'll hear now that with everything that sounds like this. There's like, it's pretty much doing the same sort of 2 bars, but there's little variations in the notes here and there. That's enough to keep it interesting with this slight big spacey loop that we've got. So from there I just needed like nice like deep bass to match with that deep piano. Nothing like too crazy like drill 808s or anything. I just wanted to keep it really simple. So here we've got the 808 pattern. So that's really just following the core notes of the loops. So on its own that sounds like this. And yeah, again, that's really just following where the kick's hitting. So because the kick's quite sparse in where it's hitting, so is the 808. I just knew I needed one where it's sitting all the way through. So you've got that sub layer in the background of the loop. I'm not sure how I got this 808, to be honest with you. Let's have a look. Okay, so after a bit of finding, I found that this 808's from an OZ kit. So that's what it originally sounds like, but I thought it sounded a bit too short. So what I did is, this is only a thing usually you can do with certain 808s, as long as they've got, you see these waves that are going up and down, so that's something called a sine pattern. And here, if you go in here and you click set loop, and then a loop, 2 red things should come either side of the whole thing, and then you can basically move it to any length you want. And if you get just like one side wave, so from one middle bit to the other middle bit here, and then you can drag it back in, so you use that, you drag it back to there, so I'll just drag it there. And then what you can do is use loop points, and then it'll only loop this sound. And so basically what that means is the 808 can loop forever, like however long you want it to. You see, it's just going to play forever. And that's also because, yeah, I've got the hold on, so it'll play as long as the note's going. I just wanted to make sure in this new pattern that I could move it around different notes, because I think sometimes it doesn't let you when it's set to the loop. That's how I created this 808. After making that long way of making an 808. I must have really wanted the 808 to sound like that. You'll see I've added an EQ, taking those highs out. And then here we've got some really fast distortion. So yeah, it's like I thought, it's the warmth preset actually. So I usually use the 808 preset on 808s, but this warmth preset just adds, like it says, a bit of warmth. And then we've got some fruity chorus on. I think this is the low enhanced preset. And then we've got a bit of compression on here. Just soften it down in the mix so it's not popping out too much against the kick. And then finally we've got the limiter on. And that's just the side chaining with the kick, so I can quickly go through that. So yeah, basically every time the kick's hitting, it's taking a lot out of the bass. So usually I'd have the threshold a lot higher than that, so it's not taking too much out of the bass. But here it really worked in order for the kick to really punch through, to take a lot of the bass out initially. Then lastly, the last sound we've got is this crash, and that sort of is like in the background. I really liked how it sounded when I found it in that kit. And that, like the other drums, it's got some delay and reverb. But I almost forgot that wasn't the last sound, it's this hi-hat actually. So I liked how it sounded as it was, so this is how it sounds. So yeah, it sounded pretty full as it was, to be honest, but I wanted, because I already had that first section that I could go in and out in like bridges, but I wanted something else to come in after that, so I thought of doing this hi-hat pattern. But you hear it's got a lot of delay and reverb on it, and this pattern sounds like this. So this is a technique I learned when I was making like a synthwave beat. It's like a two-step hi-hat, but then it's copied against itself, and there's extra notes hitting every other time that are a bit lower in the velocity, and what that does, it's creating like this panned effect. So you see I've got no like panning effect actually on the notes, but with the velocity it's sort of doing like this ticking kind of technique, and it's a really cool thing. Sometimes I use it in drill beats as well, but I should definitely use it more often. And other than that, we've just got some extra notes doing rolls just to keep it a bit spicy. That's as you heard without the delay and with the delay and reverb, but without it sounds like this. It's a bit flat, so I added like quite a lot for a hi-hat. We've just got some standard presets on them. You see when it's really going at the speed it's going, it's sort of like running into each other. And yeah, that sounds quite nice. And that was the last thing really. The only extra thing I can walk through is this low pass filter I've got on the master. I think it's on the master, yeah it is. So I just wanted it to, you know, because like it's quite like a big sound when everything's going off, especially with the hi-hat, that I wanted a section where it's a bit like more lower in volume sort of thing. So a low pass filter is a good idea for that. So you see here it transitions. So yeah, it's really just like a section to breathe where like a nice bridge or verse might go before like everything comes back in. And yeah, really it's just that copied over and over, and And I mean, guess technically we've got a bigger section here, but really it's just the same hook part repeated, with the 808 taken out sometimes, or maybe the kick and the hi-hat. And it's just really, once you got this simple cohesion of everything, learning what to take out and bring back in, and then you're done. That's it. Yeah, if you enjoyed this walkthrough, let me know, and I'll try and do some more AFROBEATs because I've not done any in a while. But this was a really fun beat to create. But I've also done another AFROBEAT walkthrough before, so check those out, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.